Okay, good evening, everybody. Today is January 26th, right? So we are in this week, we are on week third week. So in this week, we will start object-oriented programming. So in my previous 2 weeks, I discussed already. I reviewed class, object, and I reviewed static modifier. Okay, in the previous lecture. Okay, so static modifier is an important thing. Actually, you see there is a disorder in our lecture, slides and lecture schedule. Okay, maybe for instance, so if you see our slides, so slides are from previous semesters. So in the slides we have static modifier here. Okay, and then after that we have collections. So actually we are trying to improve our schedule and then slides also. Okay, so so this time we thought like this order should be better to discuss. Okay, so next time maybe so slides who the professor who updates the slides is busy. So I think he could not upload the new slides, and we are working on it. Okay, so among these topics, the most important thing is static modifier. Okay, I like you to do some hands-on activities about static modifiers. So in the book, please read the book. So static modifier, it has a lot of use. So it uses for multiple purposes. For instance, in Java and C#, in Java, in order to declare a constant, we use static final. We use static keyword. Okay, in order to declare a constant. So static is used as a constant declaration. Okay, for variable purpose, and a variable it is static. It is declared so class wise. In our previous lecture, I discussed. And a method, if it is static, declare as static, then it can be called. It is called by the class name. We don't need individual object to call it method. Okay, so there are actually at least 3 purposes of using static modifier. So I like you. So 3 purposes. Please mention that. Okay, at least 3 purposes. So please practice. One, the first one is that I mentioned that in order to declare a constant, we use, for instance, public static final with final keyword. That means that so we put constant name and we assign a value. So that means that identifier or constant cannot be changed during program execution time. Okay, and then we discuss. So let me see if I have some quick programs I can constant. Static. So static attribute in C# example 1 and static attributes in Java example 1, static test 1, Java and C#. So public private static is this one. So I have at least 3 programs. Then I can share with you again. Actually, I discussed this in our previous lecture. I will quickly go through this. Okay, so here I will review again. So this is my dog class. So in object-oriented programming, a file can contain multiple classes. So for instance, this is my main class. This starts in line number 1 and it ends in line number 22. You see the little highlight is square bracket. Okay, so and then the dog class is start in line number 24, and if you put your cursor over here, is right after before or after the curly brace. So you will see that closing curly brace. So this is the closing of the doc class. So a class can contain a file can contain multiple classes. Okay, so each classes are independent. We are discussing here. So do not put one class inside another class. One class start, it ends, and then another class start. Okay. So okay. So but it depends on the interpreter and compiler also, compiler and ID also. In like for instance in Eclipse, you can have only one public class per file, and your file must be saved as the name of your public class. Okay, but we are discussing here using, we are discussing sample programs here using Replit, right? Replit does not allow you to say make the class public. It does not allow, so you cannot say public over here. But in so, and also here you see that I save the file as name, like this is my file name. Okay, but I do not have any class by that name here. But it is different in Eclipse. In Eclipse, you have to save the file exactly the same name of the public class. Okay, so there is a variation in Eclipse, and then also in if you use Microsoft Visual Studio. So there's a difference. Okay, don't be confused about this. Okay. Okay, so we are discussing static modifier. Okay, so here you see that all the main method is declared as a static method, right? The purpose of main method to declare as a static, there are multiple purposes. One of these is that we know that in order to call a static method, we do not use any individual object, we use call by class itself. So since main method is the starting point of a class, so it does not require to use any object to call this main method, to run this main method. It runs automatically. Okay, so main method is declared within main class, right here. So this is the line number 4 is the starting on main method, and line number 21 is the end of main method. Okay, and dog class so this is the purpose of, you will see all main methods. In all main method, the main method needs to be declared as static. Okay, one thing. And the second thing here, you see that my dog counter, if you want to count how many objects are being created in a class, using a class, then using a static variable should be convenient. There may be other ways, but I use this method. People use this. Okay, so every time, for instance, we declare the dog counter as a static integer. So then what do we need to do? Every time everywhere we have a constructor. So how many constructors we do have? We have dog constructor, it is empty constructor or default constructor, right? So just it will no longer be empty. So in order within this dog constructor, I just increment it. Okay, so this plus plus is called incremental operator, right? What it does, it increments its operand by 1, right? So, and then it has two versions. This is called postfix version, and there is another version, it is called prefix version. So in that case, in this case, it will work same thing. But there is a difference between prefix and postfix notation of the incremental operator and decremental operator. Okay, so so in the review part, that was a part of review. So I want to at least C++ and Java. Okay. This is C++. I need Java and C Sharp. So this is C Sharp. Okay, so let us, this is part of review. Okay, so here I have two variables, x and y, both are initialized as 1, right? So what are so if I say like this, yeah. So can anyone please tell me what will be printed for this line and what will be printed in this line? So if I say x equal to x plus plus, and if I say y equal to plus plus y, what will be the difference between this x plus plus and plus plus x? Anyone recall? Yes. Yes. So this is the postfix notation. It will print the old of the it will print the old value, and after printing the old value, it will increment it. So actually, the plus plus notation, this postfix notation, and prefix notation both do same thing. Both of these increment is operand by 1. So, but the main difference is that the prefix notation here is called prefix. It uses the incremented value right way. And here, postfix notation, it uses the old value, but an incremented value is used for the next time, okay, or for the next iteration. Okay, so if I run this program, so you see that this time it will be printing. I'm sorry, actually, just to see this one. So this time it will be printing x equal to 1 and backslash t, that means there will be a tab over here, and it will be printing y equal to plus plus y, that means incremented value is printing over here. Okay, has anyone any question about this? And here now, if I want to print this same statement again, or x and y again, just fresh x and y. Okay, so then what will be printed over here? Can anyone please tell what will be x value and what will be y value? Yes. Yes, 2 for both. Here it will be printing 2 for both, because the x after printed x become 2, so then y is printed as 2, and then up is before printed y become 2, so then this is printed. Okay, and okay, so for your test, if you get we discussed this in 1321 like this way, but in 1322 if you get this kind of question, you will be getting a little bit complicated one. For instance, what will be printed over here and what will be printed here? I give different order, right? So now what will be printed? Yes. Yes, 3 and 2. So that here this will be printed as 3 because it was 2 and then again it became 2 plus 1, 3. And y equal to still y equal to previous value 2 and it printed 2. So that you understand that, remember that the prefix notation, it works with the incremented value. Right away, okay, and the postfix notation, it works with the old value first and the incremented value is used for the next iteration. I usually tell a story that in some countries, not in all countries, there are some corrupted people who run government or even some lawmakers. So sometimes they make new law rule, maybe both prefix and postfix notation. Prefix notation, that means prefix way, that means if they think that this is beneficial for them, like for instance an increment or some incentives, then they make it prefix so that they can get the benefit instantly. But if they think that it will make a harm for them, or it will be something anti-corruption or some inquiry, so sometimes they make the rule as postfix, so that they think that okay, let us go away, and then people who come here as elected person, they will face this trouble. Okay. So, but not always. So that is the way we should remember. You can remember. Okay. So I added a lecture. If you need more detail, okay. So I added a lecture. Okay, for your case. So now if I have for int I equal to 0 to I less or equal to 4 I plus plus, and then if you are asked to do this, practice it yourself. Okay, what will be my output? There will be 5 looping, right? There will be 5 looping. After each looping, so there will be different value. If you understand one sequence, then you can get another. Okay, I added in your in my YouTube channel. I added a video from my previous section. Okay, so my previous section video, this one, I added a video, the prefix notation and postfix notation from my previous section or in 1321 course. Okay, so if you please practice this. Okay, if you need more help to recap this, please practice this. And I also added Java and C# another video from previous lecture. So Java and C# collection classes generics and what is that called, generics and array list discussion, more details. So in last lecture I went very quickly. Okay, so if you are new in this, if you have never used this, please go through these 2 lectures video thoroughly one time, at least one time. Okay, because instead of spending my time over here in reviewing stuff, 1321 stuff, I want to give more focus in advanced object oriented programming. Okay, okay, so here dog counter, in this case there is no difference between plus plus dog counter or dog counter plus plus. Okay, so everywhere I have a constructor, I will use this statement. And then what will happen, every time I will invoke the constructor, it will be incremented. And then in this way, it will keep track how many objects are being created. So I want to share this program with you. So please practice this. Okay. This is in Java. I have corresponding program in C#. Same thing. There is no difference between C# and Java. For this purpose, please practice this. And what is it? What is it? What is it? Okay. Okay, and then we discussed in our last lecture some important features of static modifier, right? One of the things is that we discuss a static member, especially function, cannot call a non-static function, right? But a non-static function can call a static function. Okay, for instance, I have method here. This is non-static. There is no static keyword used, and here this non-static method. Okay, so non-static method 1, non-static method 2. I have static method 1. I have static method 2. Okay, so this way, what I want to do, there are some example over here. Is static is a variable. This is a static variable. Okay, so I was trying to see whether this static member is accessible within a non-static method or within a static method. So this program, it works, but here Okay, so here let me. So everything is okay, right? Here, this program, this line will not be working. So here, non-static method. Okay, illegal static method cannot access a non-static. Let me see. It different. Okay, so you see that it is giving a static method cannot call a non-static method. So here non-static, right? This method it cannot call. There it is coming. Okay, so if I disable this one, my program will be running. So this static method cannot call a non-static method, but if I disable this, the program is running. Okay, but here same thing. So can I use this one? So cannot access a non-static variable inside a static method one. So this is a non-static. This variable is non-static. So it cannot be used within a static method. It will make an error. Okay, so I cannot use this. On the other hand, so if my variable, this method is non-static, right? This is a non-static method and it call a static method. It call static variable. Okay, so a non-static method can call, a non-static member can call another static member. Okay, but if it is within class, it can be called directly. But if they are in different class, we need to call by class name. So this is within class, right? So all are static class. So this is within class, so we don't need to use class name over here. Okay. So actually for new programmers, so this is something is critical. So in order to understand this, please do some practice. Okay. I'm sharing my program over here. So everybody please get this program and try to make some changes and run it. Okay, so this program is everything is one class. So this is my static test class. Okay, you can create another class, non-static class, and you can see what is happening. For instance, I can create static class test. I think maybe I can create another class name non-static class test. So I will have only non-static member over here. So only non-static. Non-static. Okay. I'm not completing this one. I'm leaving it for as a homework. You please practice. Okay. Now what you will do? Okay. So there's a problem. This one is extra. Okay. Unexpected symbol end of file. Okay, let me see what it is. Oh, I need a that should go here. Let me see. This one is ends over here. This one ends here, and this one ends here. Apparently, I see same. True. Okay, the problem is that I have two variables as public with same name. Okay, so it cannot happen. So static. Okay, I should not mess up like this. I should not. I'm getting back. Okay, I left the part for you. Okay, so please practice this. I'm leaving it. Maybe did I give it? Okay, this is Java. Okay, so this is one of the test question, okay, from a previous semester. So please practice. So in your test, you will get some questions. I have almost all programs written in C# and Java in both languages. I'm sharing both. Okay, has anyone any question about static modifier? Okay, I think still I can continue this discussion for another 1 or 2 lectures, but if you please spend some time yourself, okay, then you will learn. Okay, then today we will start. Let us see our schedule. We will start really advanced object-oriented programming. That is, we will start with class inheritance. Okay, we will start with inheritance. Let us see our slides where to have inheritance. So collection, there is a like this slide. Okay, go to this slide and it has discussed about collection, discussion about collection. But I added a video about collection, the detailed video. Okay, please watch this video for collection. Okay, so this is the array list. Okay. Okay, I did not have time to last time I could not have time to discuss this program, but please practice this program, okay, and convert it into Java C#. So this is the slide I wanted to discuss. This slide, inheritance. Okay, inheritance. So how many features or principles of object-oriented programming are there? Can you recall? Anyone knows how many principles object-oriented programming has? Common principle. I'm helping you. The first one is called class, right? The second one, class and object is called together. Okay. These are there are at least five, 6 pillars of object-oriented programming. Class is the main pillar, the middle one is the foundation. Through class, what do we do? Through class declaration, what do we do? What do we declare? No. Why do we need to declare a class, to make a class? Let us recall the definition of a class. Who can give me a definition of a class? Yes. Yeah, I can say blueprint. Okay, it's okay, but that's good. Please try to give me a formal definition.
Something that declares objects.
Something that is used to declare an object. Okay. What is that something? I need a formal definition. Okay, you can write it down. Maybe I told this several times. A class is a user-defined data type. Okay, write it down, please. Are you okay? You understand my English? A class is a user-defined data type that contains two things. Number one, some variables that are called characteristics or attributes of the class. So far we found a class is a user-defined data type that contains two things. Number one, some variables that are called characteristics or attributes of the class, and number two, some functions, and number two, some functions that are called methods, okay, used to perform some actions on those variables. Which variables? Class variables, right? Okay, now everybody please, someone please help me. Whatever I said, let us formalize it. So a class is I like you to have a clear understanding about this. Otherwise, we cannot proceed on, okay? A class is what did I say? Just what did I tell you? User defined, or you can say custom. People say custom, okay? Or people say custom data type that contain two things. You can say number one, I said some variables, okay? At least one. Okay, that are called the characteristics of or attribute of the class used to hold data values for instances of the class. Okay, more detail I can type in. Okay, and number two, some, what did I mention? Number two, what are the another attributes? Another ingredient of a class. Some functions, okay, that are called methods, okay, used to perform some actions on the class attributes. Okay, the functions of a class are called methods, right? So this is the formal definition of a class. So if you please remember this way, then so other way we can say is a blueprint. In shortcut, say actually a class is a user defined data type, right? It's data type, new data type. Okay. So what a class hold a blueprint or structure of an object. Okay. Has anyone any question about the definition of a class? Okay, yeah, please do not try to control me, okay? Please don't try to control me, okay? Okay, now what is an object? So, hey, Keinu, yeah, please do not try to control me, okay? Now let us get the definition of an object. So what is an object? And what is an object? Yes, and instance, or we can say variable of a class is called an object. Okay. So what does a class contain? Two things, right? Some variables and some functions, methods, right? Then what does an object hold? What does an object hold? Huh? An object holds the actual value against those variables, and the action, it performs the action that are defined in the class. Okay, the actions may not be similar but should be identical. Okay, so like everybody is here, you are student, right? So everybody has a types. Everybody is human, that's it, as a type student, right? So a student, what does? What are the attributes or variables of a student? Huh? Please speak loudly. Student loan. Okay. So first of all, in order to be a student, you need to be admitted in a school, right? And you should have an ID. You must have a name, your own name. That is, as a human being, you have a name, right? Then student ID. You have your institution name, right? You should have taken some course. You may have some debt. If you get scholarship, you don't need to have debt, right? If you do well, okay. Or if someone finance for you, then for free, your parents or relatives or government, then you don't need to debt. Okay. So these are the attributes, right? So then what are the action or function of a student? The student study, right? Take test, right? For instance, this. Then what is an object of student class? Can you give an example of a student, an example of, if I consider a student as a class, then can you please show me or give me an example of a student object? Yes. For instance, one specific student. For instance, do you see any that instance here nearby? Yeah, you are also okay. Anyone else? Only you? Yes, everybody in this class is a student, right? Everybody in this class is an individual instant of student class, right? So a student has some features. Everybody hold those features, attributes, right? A student has name, so everybody has a name, right? A student has ID, everybody has an ID, right? So a student performs some study, everybody does that, right? So a class, actually an object, actually hold the actual value against this. As we say that a class is a blueprint. Okay, we can see an individual student, for instance, Daniel, John, Michael. These are individual students, right? But whenever we say student, a class is invisible. We cannot see a class. We can see an instance of a class, like a student. If I say, show me some student, then you will show some of your friends, right? As a human being, right? So a student is also a human being. So what is a human being? That is also another class, right? There are many living particles or articles and objects in this world. Some are like trees, some are humans, some are animals, right? Some animals are mammals, some animals are non-mammals, right? So we can do many segregation of a class. So in this lecture, so anybody has any question about class and object? Everybody understand? In order to understand object-oriented programming, you need to have clear understanding about class. Okay, I like you to give some other example of class. Give me some example, other classes. Tell me the classes, other classes. Yes. Car, CAR, right? Yes, okay, car is a class. Okay, another example. Building, okay, building is a class. Okay, other example. I like, tell me some example frequently. Okay, I like to get 10, 15 examples. Yeah, okay. Restaurant is a class. Hospital is a class. So whenever we say specific hospital, like greedy hospital, okay, specific hospital, right? Whenever we say hospital, right, there is no visibility. But when we say greedy hospital, greedy is the hospital, right? Or downtown hospital, the downtown is a hospital. The hospital located in downtown, okay? Or we say Marietta Hospital or Kenneth Hospital, okay? Or KSU Hospital, okay? So that means, okay, so now can we think about some correlated classes? Some classes that are overlapping. Can you think about some classes that have overlapping? Overlapping means sharing features. Yes, a human being is a class and a student is a class, there these two classes have some overlapping features, common features, right? Right? Let us give more example, please. With human being and student, do you see another more overlapping classes in this with these two classes? Definitely there are. Think about, yes. Huh? Yes, teacher. Okay, teacher. Okay, then let us do more segregation or more overlapping. Let us do some critical thinking. Okay, think critically a little bit. We got human being, then we got student, we got teacher. Are these three same? Are these three all, or there are more? I'm telling there are more. What are those? What is that? I don't know. Is it difficult to think? They ask difficult question. It's not a rocket science. Okay, okay. So how about, like, I'm giving you some clue. Like graduate student, right? Undergraduate student, right? College student, high school student, elementary student. So we are segregating, right? We are making more classification, more branches. Then we are getting more correlated classes, right? So that whenever we have a related classes, some classes, then there is a top level class, right? There is a top level class. So among these that we discuss, which one is the top level? We found classes human being, we found classes student, teachers, graduate student, undergraduate student, college student, PhD student, high school student, elementary student, right? Working student, non-working student, okay, honor student, senior student, junior student, sophomore student, freshman student. We can get more example. But within these, all of these are students, right? So for instance, within all of these classes, do you see any? We are trying to find a correlation. Which one is the top level? Human. So human is the top level, right? Every class is all of these members. Student, graduate student is a human. Okay. A student is a human. A teacher is a human. An undergraduate student is a human, right? Okay. So the concept is that now we can think about the concept of inheritance. Okay, what is an inheritance? Inheritance is the second most important principle of object-oriented programming. Okay. So through inheritance, what do? We reuse properties of one class from another class. Okay, so in real life, the concept of object-oriented programming is to develop programs in real life fashion. So in real life, what do? We inherit properties from our parents, right? So my computer is drying. So I need to. Okay, so in real life, what do? We inherit properties, financial properties from our parents, right? And then we can use those properties, right? Okay, and then what do we in addition to financial properties, what are the properties that we inherit or acquire from our parents? Physical characteristics, right? Genetic characteristics, right? Genetic characteristics or physical characteristics, right? Okay, like for instance, if a parent has curly hair, it's more likely that a child, their child will have curly hair, right? Okay, if a parent has brown hair, the child should most likely have a brown hair. Okay, so we inherit properties from there. Okay, physical characteristics. Okay, so that concept of object-oriented programming is almost same thing. To inherit property or transmit characteristics from one class, that from upper class, from top class to bottom class, right? But there are some difference. For instance, difference this in that way. For instance, if I inherit property from my parent, so if I use this, maybe that will be that property, financial property will be decreases, right? If I think about that, if I inherit some money from my parents and if I use those money, that money will be gone, right? The property will be decreases, right? Parents' property or my property will be decreases. But in object-oriented programming, if we use inherit property, that property will not be decreases, will not be gone. If we use, I can use that multiple times forever. It will not be decreases. Like for instance, when we fire a candle and we use another 1,000 candles fired from that candle, how about the fire or light of the original candle? Will that be decreased? Decreases? That will be decreased, right? If I have a candle 1 and if I share fire from that candle to another candle and to another candle to another candle, so original candle's fire will be same, right? Same thing. In object-oriented programming, whenever a parent class has some characteristics or some attributes, and if a child class inherits those attributes, and the parent's attribute will not be, characteristics will not be decreased, will not be gone. So the same attribute, parent can use that, child can use that. And there is no limit that the number of children, as many children classes can be, is needed can be created. So that is a like a good feature, right? Advantage, a good advantage of object-oriented programming. So inheritance is a good advantage of object-oriented programming. Through inheritance, what do? We transmit or we reuse actually. Okay, if it's a transmit, that is maybe fake, so you can reuse properties from one class to another class without changing the parent property. Okay, so in object-oriented programming, for instance, if a mammal, let us think about mammal class. So what a mammal class contains, the characteristics, temperature. Mammal has body temperature, right? Every mammal has body temperature, its weight, IQ, true color, right? And then these are the variables or attributes of mammal class, right? And these are the functions, right? How do we know that this is a function? Just by looking at parentheses, pair of parentheses. Whenever you see the parentheses, then these are functions. So a mammal eats, right? All mammals eat. The kind of eating is different. A human eat, a human object, a human mammal eats in one way, a cow or a goat eats another way, right? Different way. Okay, but everybody eats, right? And then drink. All mammals drink, right? And then move, all mammals move. And all mammals give birth. So these are the function or action, right? Now, has anyone any questions so far? There is a good is tool. It is called UML, Unified Modeling Language. UML is a language. So I like you to do a Google search about UML. It is a free tool. Okay, you can download UML and install it in computer, and you see that it is very interactive to design class. And some UML versions allow you to convert the picture or pictorial development of class into code, actual code. Sometimes I used with Python. It's good for Python. So convert UML diagram into class code. Okay. Now, if you think about the dog, a dog is also a class, right? Dog is also a mammal, right? If we say mammal is a class, then dog is also a class. And then what does a dog do? A dog eats, a dog drinks, a dog moves, a dog gives birth. These are the actions, right? And also a dog or all dogs have these characteristics. Okay. So now, like dog, so a dog, we can say dog class is a subclass or a child class of mammal. So mammal is a border class, okay, and the dog is a subclass. The dog is a mammal, right? Okay, in addition to dog, we know that cat are also mammal, right? And cow are also mammals, right? So there are thousand or million or unlimited number of mammals. We don't know, maybe limited. Unlimited number of mammal subclasses of mammal classes. So all of these like subclasses, if these are subclasses, this contains almost all features that are public, not private. This subclass can use or reuse all of this is this is the mammal class is called parent class. All of non-private attributes of a parent class. So we inherit in real life, see that we inherit properties from our parents. Do we inherit all of their properties or all of their features? No. We cannot inherit their social security number, right? Can I reuse my father's social security number? No. I can inherit my father car, money, bank account, other things, right? Bank balance, but not everything. Okay, that is his social security number is private to him. That is not transferable. That is not inheritable. Okay, so now, so here dog class is a subclass. It's called a child class. Okay, or subclass of the mammal class. Here mammal class is top class. That is called, sorry, that is dog class is called a child class or subclass of the mammal class. That mammal class is called parent class or base class. Okay, so how many children classes are here? 3, right? Dog, cat, and cow, right? Okay, now, okay, can we classify dog class again? Can we have subclasses of dog class again? Can we have more branches or more kind of dog class? Yes, right? Let us give me some example, please. Like different kind of, do you know different kind of dog? Yes. like German dogs, like Shepherd, or the American dogs, right? Okay, like maybe pet dog or wild dog, right? So same thing. For we can have again subclasses of each of these classes, right? So in that case, so if I have more subclasses of dog, in that case, dog class will be parent, right? And then mammal class will be grandparent, you can say, right? So in this way, if we think more elaborately, we can find subclasses of any class or one class. Okay. So here the mammal class is called the base class. So like mammal class, there is a top level class that is called the foundation or base of all classes, that is called object class. So in object oriented programming, there is a class, built-in class, that is called object class. In Java, object O is in uppercase and C# O is in lowercase. So object class is the the topest level class. So in our programming languages, I don't have time today to discuss. In next lecture we'll discuss. Okay. The object class is called the top or greatest level class. Okay, I will show you an example here. But okay, so now if you understand class relationship, so from this diagram you see that dog, there is an arrow sign, right, to animal. That means the arrow sign goes up. For subclasses, this arrow sign does not go down. You see the arrow sign from bottom to up. Okay, so if you give arrow sign from up to bottom, you do a mistake. Okay, so what do we see from here? So in general, we can say all dogs are mammal. Is it true? All dogs are mammal. Is it true or false? It's true, right? If it is a subclass, then if dog class is a subclass of mammal class, then all dogs are mammal. It is true, right? Okay, now cat class is a subclass of mammals, so all cats are mammal. It's true, right? And all cows are mammals, right? But let us think about reverse order. Are all mammals dog? No. There are some mammals that are not dog, right? A few mammals are dog, right? Okay, some mammals are cat, but there are some mammals that are not cat. Okay, some mammals are cow, but there are some mammals that are not cow. Okay, so this is called class relationship. Okay, so you remember. So if you remember this, so whenever you discuss inheritance, okay, so please keep this picture in your mind. Okay, and the arrow sign especially. Okay, so then think about that all dogs are mammals, all cats are mammals, all cows are mammals, but opposite order is not true. Has anyone any question? So we say a dog is a mammal, a cow is a mammal, but a mammal is not, may not be a dog. A mammal may be a dog, may not be a dog. Okay, so here mammal class is called base class or super class or parent class, and cow, dog, cat, these are called derived class or subclass or child class. So everybody here has a Replit account. Everybody has Replit account. Okay, so in our next lecture we will go with some live coding. Okay, so this is the inheritance signs in C++ and C#. Okay, but in Java we use some keywords like extend to extend a class. So, and this is the inheritance sign. This is just one colon in C# and C++. Okay, we are learning C#. So there will be space in between this and this. There will be space. We should have a space. Okay. And as I discussed that, I can have more subclasses of dog class, more subclasses of dog class. Okay. So this is the way how do we declare an instance of a class. So here class, this mammal is calling constructor, and so mammal is a type, and this is m is an object equal to, so mammal m equal to new mammal. Okay, so for now I'm leaving here in slide number 15, but I like you to go through these slides before you come to next lecture. Okay, please download this slide and go through these slides. I discussed many things in our previous lectures. Okay, from here, but in my next lecture, what I want to do, I want to go with live program. Okay, to discuss inheritance. So I believe if you instead of memorizing thing, if you go a live program, if you understand live program, so then you will understand better. And then do not miss our next lecture. So in the next few weeks, at least 3-4 weeks, we will discuss object-oriented programming, and this is the heart of this course. If you understand object-oriented programming principles, you will be good to graduate with computer science and software engineering or IT degree. Okay, but if you do not understand this, you will struggle. These are your foundation. Okay, so please do not miss our next lecture. Okay, and be prepared. We will go some live programs in our next lecture. Okay. And is there any quiz due this weekend? Okay, so quiz 2 will be due this weekend, right? Okay, so quiz 2 we will have one chance, only one attempt. We have enough time. Okay, so if you are entitled for an extended time, please let me know. Okay, send me an email that if I forget to give you extra time. But for the quizzes, you have 2 hours. So you have enough time. I think you don't need extra time. 2 hours is enough, more than enough. But if you still need that, please let me know. Okay. And this 3 weeks, right? We will cover object-oriented in 3 weeks. Please do not miss a single lecture in the next 3 weeks. Okay. So has anyone any question? Okay, so in our today's take home lesson, so what is a class and what is an object? Okay, please do not forget this definition. Okay, has anyone any question? If you give attention in object-oriented programming, then you will see that really programming is interesting. If you understand this, then you will see really object-oriented programming is a new paradigm in programming. But if you do not object-oriented programming concept, your remaining task will be harder and harder. So these are the things that is nothing to memorize, just to understand, okay, and practice. In my lecture, if you follow me, give attention and do some practice, you will understand. You will not never forget some of these stuff, okay? And it will be good. Okay, so people who are online, has anyone any question? Okay, if you don't have any questions, thank you for today and have a good evening.